It's summertime in Tampa Bay, and you know what that means. The tarpon are on the beach and they are chewing. And who else better to call than my old buddy Capt Chris Camps from Triple C Charters. Now, I've known Capt Chris a long time now, and he's become one of the top guides out of Tampa Bay. He can put you on the redfish, the trout, snook, tarpon, inshore, offshore, and backcountry. He has learned it all. And not only has he become a great guide, he's become a great teacher as well. And that's why we're gonna call this episode Summer Camp. So you've been fishing this side of Egmont, huh?
Yeah, you just gotta kind of follow the patterns, you know. Sometimes they're over on the Bean Point side. You know, we've been getting them over here on this Southwest Passage. We're gonna work our way up to this edge over here, right off the edge of the bank. And these fish usually come just basically right along that drop off.
Well, instead of using the spotlight, let's turn around and put the talon down. We'll have them right there on the drop off.
Absolutely.
I've never fished them on this side. I've only caught permit on this side.
Yeah, it's a little shallower over here, but those fish, same pattern. They come in from the offshore after the spawn, or they move in and out through this pass on those tides. We're just getting ready to get a turn of the tide here now. And any number of things. On the outgoing tide, most people use crabs, but the reality is that these fish are scavengers. They can eat pretty much anything from cut bait, mullet, thread fins. You know, of course, the crab is what a lot of people do like to throw on the beaches.
Well, let's see if we can position the boat and catch us a fish. How's this looking for you?
Looks good. Stick that talon.
See you stuck, brother. Tarpon time.
Thank you, sir.
There's yours. Already got one on. Oop, there it is.
Blair, since we got a crab on that one, I'm gonna take these fish because they're such scavengers. I'm gonna take and just put on a whole bunch of these greenbacks, rip them in half, make them a little stinky, a little bloody.
Oh, I want to test out this new prototype on a big tarpon.
Sometimes these fish that aren't real aggressive, they're more likely to suck up some easy morsels off the bottom than to chase something around.
Just a wad of bait.
Just a wad of bait.
Well, they're here.
Let's get one.
So now it's a waiting game. We just pulled up right here on the drop off, and there was tarpon all underneath the boat, so we know they're here. Plus we saw them on the Humminbird. Come on, Silver King. Get whacked?
Come on.
Fish on. So now it's a waiting game. We just pulled up right here on the drop off, and there was tarpon all underneath the boat, so we know they're here. Plus we saw them on the Humminbird. Come on, Silver King. You get whacked?
Come on.
Fish on, get him, Camps.
Something.
Oh, that's a big one, brother.
We got one. So we had this group of fish just sitting underneath us. Most people are throwing crabs, but like we talked about, these things are scavengers, and this guy ate basically a wad of bait. Did you see what I had on there?
Yeah.
I had probably 4 or 5 greenbacks all stuffed on one hook. A big old chunk. Something you'd be shark fishing with. See if we can walk him right out of these boats.
Time for a coffee break while he's working his butt off. It's all right, I get to grab it.
Tell you what though, this is my first experience with these luge rods. I can feel that backbone of this thing. It's got some lifting power for sure.
Oh yeah, we were catching 8-foot bull sharks with that thing with no problem down in the
And you know,
Keys.
when I casted it, it's fairly thin rod, but it's got some lifting power for sure.
I don't think them sharks could have been in the rod that far. How you like those round handles?
You know, I love them. This foam with that round, I mean, anywhere you grab it, it's perfect. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to flip into your fingers. And it's big enough too that you get a good grip on it. I've seen some that are smaller that, you know, I don't like as much. Here you can get a good...
And the material is nice and soft. It's not a hard plastic. That's still the prototype reel.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so far
So far, so
So
good.
far, so good.
Jump again.
Let's hope. He's not too deep, but he's definitely, there he is, right on the surface right there.
Yeah, so there he goes.
Oh,
just
breath.
a gulp. Get ready.
He's got a back on him, I'll tell you what.
That's a thick fish, brother.
That's a thick fish. Did you see the back on him?
He's as wide as the fish were long I was catching last week.
I love big bottom girls. He's just coming up for a breath.
Oh, that's a thick
yeah.
fish. That's a thick one.
That's in triple digits for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well into him, I think. All right, let's take it. Got him right here. At least he's not too far away. Hello.
She just passed all that air
Oh,
over
yeah.
her gills.
That gives him that resurgence there, that burst of energy. And you can see, as you can see, when these fish try to come up, as much as we want them to jump, if they're just going to come up to get that breath of air, try to pull that rod tip right along the water line and make them fight for that gulp of air. You see that? We just turned her on her head. See that? There we go.
Doing good.
This is the first time where I feel like I'm starting to pull her back a little bit.
Until she gulps again.
Until she's there, right?
You know, I've said this before on the show that a tarpon, towards the end of the fight, that's where you lose 90% of your tarpon is right next to the boat, because you see that fish and you think she's about done. She'll grab a gulp of air and pass the air over her gills. It gives her instant energy, and you're thinking that fish is really tired, and all of a sudden, snap. Called a zing pow.
Zing pow, huh?
Oh, God.
And there she goes. Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
That's why we do this. Right there.
That's why you sit for hours and with
tell you
them
what.
around the boat not eating.
I've had clients hook these fish and we pull on them for 45 minutes or an hour and they never jump. I feel like they didn't get their money's worth, you know what I mean? Because that's why we hook them. We want to get these things in the air, flying those silver kites.
100+ pound fish coming out of the water. Woo. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I don't want to put any more heat on her than we already have. It's 40-pound leader. Imagine we got to have her button hooked already. She would probably shoot through it.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Nah, listen, it's tarpon fishing. You try your best, you know, and
Heck,
all those things all the stars have to align.
in the jaws of their mouth is like almost a pair of dikes cutting it. I've seen them snap hooks with that corner of their mouth, and especially leader up to 80, 100 pound. They'll like it's nothing. I think you got this one buttoned pretty good.
Yes.
It's one good thing with those trocar circles, though. It'll come all the way to the corner of the mouth, and then the leader will stay outside of the fish's mouth.
At least you got a reason to sweat now. We saw those fish under the boat. They were just sitting there,
Might have been that giant one I saw.
coming up for a breath.
Flipper.
Oh, where's she at?
Oh, there's that. Oh, yeah, she's wide.
Not a super long fish either, but definitely a girthy one. You gonna give me a run? Oh, I think I stood her up just then. You know you're getting the handle on her when you stand them up on their head, you get that broom tail.
Yeah. And roll them upside down.
Yeah. Tell you what, I think this fish may have me outweighed.
I think he does.
Probably. I'm only about 1.5 bucks soaking wet, so. Yeah, very well could be. Got her on the surface here now.
Work it, work it, work it!
Oh yeah, there she is.
Oh yeah, look. That is a nice one, brother. She got some scars.
Yeah, like I said, see that scar on its back there?
Yeah.
Well, at least she's giving us some good looks at her. Hopefully we get a close-up mug shot.
Jane there, back her up.
Yep. I'll tell you, and this grip also feels great up here.
Like holding a golf club.
It really is, it's cool. That's why we use all the best gear. I mean, if you don't have the proper gear, you know, from rod, reel, line, leader, hook, there's no sense in putting your time in to do this because it should be fruitless. I mean, it's hard enough to get them when you got everything right and You know, we've had this fish on for a little while. Hopefully we can get her, you know, right up to the boat, but lesser hook or leader would have been done by now.
Yeah, the other show we filmed with Chris a few years ago was right over there about 1.5 miles at Bean Point. If you want to check that one out on the internet, it's called Camp Tarpon. And we hammered some tarpon that day. I think this one's bigger than those two. That day.
Yeah, I
this
think
one's
so.
bigger than anything we got that day.
Yeah. Stood her up again.
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't like that. She didn't like that. I backed her up that time good.
Yeah, she didn't like that.
Not one bit. Yeah, and with this grip all the way out here, you can get some good leverage on it. Oh, man.
It still looks pretty green.
It's feels it.
I don't mean the color.
No, and I'll tell you what though, I've had some fish that fought to where they started to look like those, you know, thread fins that start to lose their life. They start to get that green color. It's just a big thread fin. And yeah, we've had a situation where, you know, we didn't even take pictures of this one fish. It fought for over 2 hours. I thought it was gonna die. And we just grabbed it, started reviving it as soon as we got it to the side of the boat. But it had that color, you know what I mean? It was turning green. And for 5 minutes, I thought it was a dead fish. It was just rolling. Oh, and then she's gone. That's tarpon fishing. Oh well.
Hey, you
See if
got,
we can do it
you got
again.
the best of that one, brother.
Yeah, we did all right. We had her close enough to the boat a few times, but
Y'all got to see it. It was a big one. And I think we're gonna go post back up over there if the tide's still moving right. And
finally did shoot. Didn't chew through it. Did it chew through it or cut it?
yeah, she snapped it.
Cut it with something sharp. Yeah, that was a sharp bit. Using 40 pound to get that bite. You picked the big one. That's all right. Let's do it again.
Y'all stay tuned. We're gonna go repost and hopefully hook another one.
That's it. Need some water. You never know what you can catch up in here. We're running these beaches. I mean, there's cobia, there's snook, there's some drum, any number of different things that we can catch right along the shoreline.
So like all this dead wood up here?
Yeah, this is a spot that has a lot of these blown down trees right on the shoreline. And at low tide, there's no water up against the trees, it's just sand, and these fish aren't here. But once that tide fills in, it allows that fish to get in there in that structure, and like these snook, you know, like a largemouth bass, they like shade of the trees or docks or something like that, some protection. So yeah, when this high tide is up in here, it allows this water to come up into these trees, it allows these snook to sit up in here and be a lot more comfortable.
There he is.
Get him, get him. Oh, look at
A snooklet.
a snooklet, yeah. Hey, the little one's got to eat too, right?
I'll feed him.
That's it.
At least I'm not fighting fish with broken ribs this year. That was tough.
I can imagine.
Yeah, this one's lateral line's almost non-existent for a snook.
Isn't it crazy? They start turning gray. And these fish, we catch them inside the bay in that grass flats, and they're yellow, golden colored.
There we go. Just a little dude.
They're all good, just some are better than others, right?
That's the truth.
Oh, and we're on again.
I wish those clown knife fish were this easy. Get back up in those Boynton Beach canals, man, it was so hot.
Oh, I bet. We got a nice little breeze out here. I would like to see a fish swim backwards, though. That's
Oh, it's incredible to watch those things.
Mr. Snook. Another one. Look at that trocar. Perfect right in the corner of the mouth like it's supposed to be. That fish wasn't going anywhere. Look how white that fish's head is. He's got no yellow, except for his fins a little bit yellow down here. Look at that, it's like almost like a bonefish, isn't it?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Very different from the one here.
Beautiful fish.
Nice little buddy. I'll grab a handful here.
The Tampa Bay secret.
Yeah, gotta get him going. Throw a few freebies out there.
That feels a little better. Don't look no better though. Not when the seagull tries to come down and eat him.
There are a few bigger fish in here.
They're almost translucent.
Ghost snook. I guess
Come
these
here,
are our
Snooky Snooky.
Tampa Bay barramundi, right?
Yeah. When I was living over there in Bradenton at one time, I used to love to come early in the mornings and you could walk the beach and literally catch hundreds of these fish right here, this size, right along the beach. And a lot of times people would take, when they go fishing the surf like that, let me get this guy back in the water. When you go fishing the surf like that, people stand on the beach and cast out as far as they can, but what you really want to do is get in about, shin deep water and cast parallel to the beach, right where the little trough is, and that's where those guys are sitting. And if you get there right in the mornings early, before anybody walking the beach looking for shells and stuff, you can catch those things until you're just blue in the face. DOA terrorized, DOA shrimp. It's a lot of fun.
Something in the water will certainly, there you go.
There's a good
There's
one.
a decent one there.
No,
look
I
at
got the
that
houndfish. What I didn't want.
That's all right.
Since you want him so bad, you want to grab him?
Sure, I'll grab him. He's cool as hell. This is a beautiful looking fish, man. These things are prehistoric.
They just stink.
They smell like a barracuda.
He sure is a jumper.
Yeah, they jump like crazy. They pull good.
A big old needlefish.
It is a big old needlefish. And they got some crazy colorations on them. Come here, buddy.
You were just wanting to catch one of those today, weren't you?
Yeah, especially when they're this big.
Look at that thing.
I'm telling you. Look how pretty that thing is. Whoa, hold on, slippery snack. I got him now. You had him hooked good. Hold on.
I've been bitten by needlefish. I don't want to be bitten by this guy.
You get it out? Hold on. There we go.
Man, that's got to be the biggest houndfish I've ever caught.
That's a good size houndfish right there. Clean him off a little bit real quick. Tampa Bay houndfish.
That's a
Cool.
2-pounder hounder.
Look at the teeth on that sucker.
Cool
They're
fish.
pretty fish.
But they stink, man.
Yeah, they do got a little bit of a special odor. That's a good one. You ready to go? Nice. Something a little different anyway.
Hey, that's 3 species today.
That's it.
You know, the summertime water temps makes Tampa Bay an absolutely premier place to go and sight fish snook and tarpon just like we did. And if you want to do it, make sure you go to the website addictivefishing.com, look up Capt Chris Camps, and you can book a charter with him and come out and catch a bunch of fish. That about wraps up today's show. And while you're at the website, make sure you register for our weekly blog that we put out, and also you can register to win a trip with me this year. That about wraps it up. We'll see you next week.
Check out more footage from this show by logging on to addictivefishing.com for outtakes and bloopers.
Up, and he's gone. Oh, yes. Look at the teeth on that sucker. Oh, and then she's gone. That's tarpon fishing. Oh well.